All right, welcome back to the sports show on that damn YouTube. Got some baseball, college football on this episode, so let's get into it with the standings, and we'll get it going here. All right, in the American League, Tampa Bay, the team that won't die, 27-7. Wow. Followed by Baltimore at 22-12. But how about the Red Sox? Winners of 8 in a row. Rafael Devers, impressive season so far. 11 home runs, 34 ribbies. Verdugo also having a good season, as well as Yoshida. Both of them batting over 300. Moving on to the Central, Minnesota Twins hanging in there at 19-16, followed by the Guardians, not the Indians, the Guardians at 16-18, and you got Detroit at 15-17. 5 in a row. I think they're about to go down today, though. So make that 5 out of 6 for the Tigers. Out in the AL West, Texas Rangers 19-13, Angels 19-15, and the Astros at 17-16. Astros having all kinds of injury problems, as Garcia looks like he's going to be out for the entire season. Moving on to the National League, Atlanta Braves, still probably arguably the best team in baseball. That pitching staff is just bonkers that they got out there with Ryder and Fried. Hanging in at 24-11, followed by the Mets at 17-17, Miami 16-18. In the Central, Pittsburgh and Milwaukee, both losers of 6 in a row. So that division's starting to slip away between the top two teams as Chicago's heating up, followed by Cincinnati and St. Louis in last place. Moving on to the National League West, the Dodgers 20-14, another team coming on strong here, followed by the Diamondbacks at 19-14, San Diego disappointing 18-16, the Giants 15-17, and the Rockies 13-21, having a pretty good stretch though, 6 out of 4 in their last 10. Those are your standings for baseball on Sunday, whatever the hell damn date it is. I don't fucking know. But we'll move on to the Cy Young here. Now, these are going to be the Cy Young front-runners. Start off in the American League. How about Garrett Cole? 5-0, a 1.35 earned run average, 52 strikeouts, and a whip of 0.90. Sonny Gray, 4-0, a 1.35 earned run. Do you know what Sonny Gray's nickname is?
The Gray Man? No.
That's good. Pickles. His name is Pickles.
Pickles.
Yeah, what the hell's that about? I seen that. It just randomly popped up for his nickname. I think it was on Major League Baseball. Sounds like the name of a fucking lost cat or some shit. Pickles.
It does.
And then you got Shane McCallahan, 6-0, 2.03 earned run average, 51 strikes. You know, looking at these three for the American League, as far as Cy Young goes, all three guys have an incredible season, especially Going Gray with the 1.35 earned run. But you know what? I got to go Shane McCallahan from Tampa Bay, 6-0, unbelievable. He's my front runner so far for the Cy Young. Who do you got so far as the top pitcher in baseball for the American League?
AL, I'd probably put McCallahan up there.
He's got
McClanahan, excuse me. He does. And like Sonny Gray, out of nowhere, having a good year. I mean, I hadn't heard of him doing much in a very, very long time.
Yeah, since he had that perfect gamer, I think, no-hitter when he was out in Oakland, right?
Yeah, and let's look at his seasons.
I know he went to the Yankees for a little bit, too, there.
I mean, you go to the Yankees as a pitcher, you kind of typically tend to die out there because the fans just hate you if you have one bad outing.
It's true.
Yeah, he's very mixed results in his career. His career ERA is 3.50. Last year he had a 3.08 ERA in Minnesota. Year before that he had 4.19. So kind of a dark horse. Somebody else that's in the running, and I don't know if he's going to stay there, Erod.
Yeah,
Eduardo
that's a good
Rodriguez.
Call. Yeah. If that
he's pitching well.
If that was a first place team, he definitely would be up there, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think he gets traded personally. What we talked about in the intro, we're seeing the real Tigers on the TV. I point towards my living room where the TV's on.
The real Tigers.
Blowing a freaking 6-3 lead. Now it was 10-6 last I looked. But, yeah, I think he eventually gets traded. Not now. I don't think any trades are going to happen with most of baseball until June at some point. Teams are going to see where they're at in June and go from there.
Yeah, how about a team like the Dodgers, even Tampa? I think those are two top choices if you're trying to pick out a veteran arm there down the stretch, especially if they're both going to be in it. The Dodgers, I mean, they got off to a pretty bad start, but able to creep back up there in the standings. All right, so let's move on to the National League. As far as Cy Young goes, my top three, I got Spencer Strider, 4-0, 2.7 earned run average, leading baseball in strikeouts at 67. Justin Steele, who the hell is Justin Steele for the Cubs? 5-0, 1.45 earned run average. Unbelievable. And then they got also for my third one, I got Bryce Elder from the Atlanta Braves, 3-0, 1.74 earned run average. I'm going to go Spencer Strider. The guy is just dominant when he's on the mound. Unbelievable stuff he has. Can really hit it up there. 97, 98. Got some nasty breaking ball movement when he's throwing that pitch. So for the National League, I got Spencer Strider as my top Cy Young choice so far, very early in this damn season.
I'd probably put him up there along with another Atlanta pitcher, Bryce Elder. 3-0, 174 ERA. 36 strikeouts. Guy's just having a monster year too. One of those two pitchers from Atlanta is kind of probably my bet for who's going to get it. Although Clayton Kershaw,
yes,
he's always waiting in the wings, and he seems to be getting it together because he had a little bit of a rough start to the season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Kershaw's kind of remind me of Verlander. Verlander hit a little rough patch like in the middle of his career, and then just turned it on again. It seems like that's what's happening to Kershaw, and that breaking ball he has is still have nasty drop on it. But yeah, when I was looking through the contenders, definitely Kershaw was up there. MVP, whoa, let's do it for the American League. I got two of them. I mean, there's a couple more players you can bunch up in there, but my two top choices for the MVP in the American League, I got Randy Arozarena, batting .325, 9 homers, 30 RBIs, almost 400 on base percentage. And I'm going with Bo Bichette, too, out there in Toronto. .326, leading the league in hits with 47, 7 homers, 22 RBIs. I think he gets overshadowed a lot by Guerrero, but I would actually put Bichette ahead of him as far as MVP candidates. But I'm going to go with Randy Arozarena. You can't go wrong with the Tampa Bay player at this point with the hot start that they're on. So I got Arozarena so far from my American League MVP. Who's you got?
I have another guy on Tampa, but not Randy. Yandy Diaz is hitting the freaking cover off the baseball. He's got 9 bombs, 19 ribbies, hitting .325. So he's having just as good of a season as Arozarena, just not as many RBIs. Yeah,
I had him on my radar too when I was looking at it, but I just had to put Arozarena just a little bit ahead of him. But he definitely was someone I was thinking of looking at. And MVP in the National League, I got 3 candidates here, 2 of them on the Atlanta Braves. I think one of them might surprise you. I got Ronald Acuna Jr., .338, 6 homers, 21 RBIs, a .431 on base percentage, 15 stolen bases. Can't go wrong with him. But also out there in Atlanta, I almost had Matt Olson, but I'm going to go Sean Murphy, the catcher. .282, 28 RBIs, 9 home runs, .426 on base percentage. Talk about a tough lineup to get through going against that Atlanta team. And third, I got Alonso, 11 home runs, 29 RBIs. Out of this group, I will go Acuna Jr., but Sean Murphy a close second for me, especially the position he plays at catcher to do it on both sides, offense and defense. But Acuna Jr., who's I got in the National League for the MVP so far.
I'm going to put Acuna up there too. I don't need to go over his stats. You just did. Great year. Then I got 2 kind of sleepers. Corbin Carroll out in Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Man, he was tough.
He's hitting for power.
Good choice. You got Corbin?
I got Corbin Carroll, number 2. And then I've got a guy who is revitalizing his career out there in St. Louis, Paul Goldschmidt. I've always loved Goldie. Dude's a super likable guy, 35, and he is just obliterating the baseball this year. St. Louis stinks. They're terrible. But, hey, maybe they find something, get it together, and maybe he gets in that conversation because the dude's just .962 on OPS, 405 on base, 316. He's mashing, hitting extra base hits. The guy's just having a really, really good year at 35.
Yeah, he's probably the best first baseman in baseball at this point. I don't think there's any argument that, at least on the offensive side of the ball, he can absolutely smoke it.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about our most favorite shortstop in baseball.
Javi,
don't call him Harvey Baez.
Nope.
I'm trying to pull up the stats here right now.
I think you lit a fire under his ass, man.
I did, and I actually wanted to talk about that a little. Basically, ever since he got benched out in Toronto, he is, like, his statistics, he's the best hitter in baseball.
Wow. That is amazing.
He's leading the league in, like, every statistical category since his benching, and the guy's just hitting the cover off the ball. Now, whatever AJ said to him, evidently it did some good, because he's playing really good baseball. We'll see if it continues. We know his MO. He's a very, very streaky player. That's just what he is. He's been that his whole career. But if you can keep getting that production out of him, maybe you can even look to offload that contract, because you got 4 more years of him. Do you really want 4 more years of him? I mean, you want 4 more years of a streaky shortstop who may or may not have a bad attitude at times.
Yeah, something definitely did happen when I was way to the dugout. Either that, or he told them we'll bring the trash can out and just a little ting, 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 ting.
We're going to pretend this is like a mob style thing. Listen here, we're going to pretend this trash can's you a fucking head, pal.
Right. 2 bangs is a curveball, 1 bang's a fastball. Maybe they went back to the old Houston style to try to get Baez going. Yeah, Baez really has picked it up, which is good to see. Really good to see, at least as a Tiger fan, to see him out there. Sometimes you need that, though. Remember back in Oakland during the 05 World Series run, Joe Newland got everybody's ass out there in Oakland, and it really turned the season around. So as far as maybe not the team, but Baez individually, I think that talking to definitely helped.
Here's the stat real quick. I'm going to put it out here from my boy, Jared Carabas. Used to be Barstool, now he's with DraftKings, kind of doing his own thing. Since Harvey Baez is benching, I'm going to keep calling him Harvey. I'm just going to. He's hitting 359, 995 OPS, leading the Tigers in average, on-base percentage, slugging, OPS, hits, doubles, homers, RBIs, runs, and total bases.
Damn. Well, that's pretty covers every damn stat you could possibly want to lead the team in right there. Holy shit. How many weeks has that been then? About 2?
April 13th, he was benched. So what is that, 2.5 at this point?
Yeah, that's an incredible streak. I mean, we're not talking just a few games here. That's got to be at least, 10, 11? Something like that. Good stuff.
And just to put the metrics into actual physical form, 23 hits, 5 doubles, 3 homers, 11 runs, 14 RBIs, and 37 total bases. That ain't nothing to sneeze at.
Hell no. Good job, Baez. I think you had something to do with it, too, though. You wanted him traded. You wanted him gone. I did.
I wanted him thrown out the window of the 3rd-story office buildings at Comerica Park.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, just wanted to talk briefly about the college football transfer portal and kind of some of the craziness that's now taking place again. So now we've had Michigan State. Let me start over. Michigan State has, since Mel Tucker's gotten there, you can talk about him, say what you want, but I mean, the guy had 11-2 season, his first full season there. You can't argue with that. They gave him the extension, whatever. But State has largely lived and died by that transfer portal, and only now you're starting to see some actual starters. Yes, they've had other people transfer, but everyone else that's transferred, not a single one has ended at a Power 5 conference before this. Everyone else went to like MAC schools, so that that's a talent thing. But now you've had last year's starting quarterback, Peyton Thorne, and one of the best receivers in the country, Keon Coleman, both hit the portal. Now, I follow a lot of the beat writers for State, and I keep my ear to the ground. And from what I've read and heard, both of those players were meddled with before they went into the portal and already had things in place before they hit the portal. Peyton Thorne was meddled with by Auburn and that scumbag Gus Malzahn. The guy's just, the guy's just, yes, I'm a State fan, but I'm not saying this as a State fan. I'm saying this as somebody who watches college football. Is that guy not the epitome of scumbag coaches?
There's college, there's a lot of sleazy guys in college. And they do interviews, they're just slick as shit. And I'm talking before the players started getting the money. Dabo, to me, out in Clemson, there's something about him. Sorry, Clemson fans. I don't know what it is. There's something fake. There's something just real sleazeball about him. He seems to be a good guy. Always says the right things. His players love him, so what the hell do I know? The same way about a lot of these college coaches.
Yeah. But So rumor is, from what I have read, Peyton Thorne was given assurances by Auburn before he even hit the portal, and presumably given certain sums of, I'm not going to say money because I can't verify that, but he was given promises by Auburn before he hit the portal that they wanted him and he was going to go there and be the starter. Scummy, yeah. Am I personally upset that he left? No. I'm the kind of a State fan that's happy he's leaving because I wanted to see, they've got two really, really good young QBs there in that QB room. So we'll see what they do. The Keon Coleman thing, though, they both hit the portal like within minutes of each other, really, or hours. And Keon Coleman looks to be going to Florida State, probably. And it looks like there may be some meddling that happened there, too. And just, not even as a State fan, just to bring this up, but the last, 2 seasons, we've seen the portal really in full effect, I think, especially. And, I mean, look at what happened with Jordan Addison from Pitt last year going out to USC. He got paid going out there by Lincoln Riley. I mean, this portal is just, it's just a disaster now. Like, it started off and everyone's like, oh, cool. I think the 2021 season was the first year where it was really fully out there. And it was kind of meh. But last year into this year, you're really seeing guys physically getting paid 7 figures to go to some of these schools and leave. And I guess the question I wanted to bring up is, where does it end? Do we end up with players going to schools on contracts like we're doing in other sports? What happens to the mid-majors, the MAC, Mountain West, the WAC? I mean, they just disappear, right? Like, they're never going to be able to compete with any of these schools. It's just, I really think college football is dying in front of our eyes with this stuff. And I don't know exactly where we go and who does it, because there's no governing body anymore. The NCAA is totally toothless about all of this stuff.
Right.
So where does this path lead us, I guess, is the point I wanted to bring up,
Yeah, I think college football the last decade, in my opinion, has really lost its soul. And it, to me, all this to me started when they started doing the conference realignments. That's, to me, where the whole thing started, because there was some crazy shit going on, still going on. We got USC and I think UCLA, right, coming over to the Big Ten next season. Yep. I don't think it's this year. So shit like that. Big Ten traditionally Midwest, obviously Pac-10 West Coast. The Big 12 is just hanging on a damn respirator at this point. I mean, they're about to be dead soon with all the teams transferring out there. They lost Nebraska. The SEC's, I think, been trying to get a lot of these teams. Florida State makes sense to throw them out there. But to me, that's where it begins, this whole thing, is when they started realigning the college divisions and the traditional, to get rid of these traditional rivalries that have been in place for, we're talking literally 100 years, 80 years. Oklahoma, Nebraska, gone. Let's just get them out of this conference. I think the only one, and who knows at this point, it might happen. I think they're always going to stay together if they go to a division. But, Ohio State, Michigan, I'm assuming that's always going to be protected by both schools. But who the hell knows at this point? You start to lose the tradition and you start to lose the region rivalries and all that shit. And then obviously with the players getting paid, I have no problem with the college players getting paid. Like you had mentioned, I want it governed more, though. There's got to be a salary cap. There's got to be some kind of structure instead of the goddamn wild, wild west out there, which what it seems to be right now. I don't know what cap number you want to put on it, but it's got to be governed at some point where they get a cap and they can't go over it, and that way you at least have an even playing field. And it might be done conference by conference. I don't know if the NCAA can come in and tell the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten might have to do it themselves and say, we're going to cap it off at $25 million. I don't know if you put a bottom number in there and say it's 10. But I definitely think there needs to be a salary cap structure within the conferences. But, that's the thing, too. You're not going to see the Big Ten say, oh, we're only going to spend $25 million. The SEC's like, oh, get fucked. We're going 50. You know what I mean? So it's going to have to be a coming together of maybe one big super conference or league, and everybody else is kind of their own thing. or you get somebody from the outside that's going to come in and regulate everything for salary cap wise. But I doubt that's going to happen at any point coming up here soon. But to me, yeah, it's like I had mentioned, it definitely starts with them realigning and then just opening up the damn door to let all hell anarchy break loose as far as paying a lot of these college players out there.
Yeah, I agree. It really is anarchy right now, and who's to say somebody doesn't come into Michigan, let's say Miami of Florida comes in, hey, JJ McCarthy, I'll give you $10 million to come start down here.
Yeah,
see ya.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. And there's I don't know enough about the rules to really speak on if that's even. I guess they'd say it's tampering, but I mean, shit, it seems like that can happen. It really does, because from what you just said, what happened to Michigan State, I mean, what's going to be the slap on the hand out there? I think they do need to put together a super conference or a super league. I don't know if you want to go 32 and then maybe every couple years think about expanding, maybe kicking teams out. I don't know. And then you had NCAA football be their own thing. And then these schools who don't have to join the NCAA, they can do whatever the hell they want and just start paying these players and put together just a super massive college football league, which would be fun as shit, by the way. That would be cool as hell. Hopefully it's a feature in NCAA Football 24. That would be pretty cool. If you could put together a super conference of 30 or 40 teams, have like a little March Madness tournament there in October or September, November, towards the end of the year, would be cool as shit. But yeah, I think the NCAA's really lost its way, and it doesn't seem to be going back to the way it was anytime soon, if ever. Especially, college basketball, too, is another one, man. Big East, ACC, I mean, Atlantic 10, all these East Coast schools are just jumping ship, switching conferences. What the hell's going on? Put me back in, 1998 or some shit as far as the conferences go.
But, yeah, it's at a point in college sports where I feel like we reached the teetering point and nobody realized it, and we teetered right off a cliff, and now we're tumbling down the cliff in free fall. We haven't hit the ground yet, but we're like maybe a quarter of the way there.
It's all money. They're talking about expanding the damn NCAA basketball tournament. It's perfect the way it is. It's fine.
Yeah.
Why are we adding
Izzo
more
was
teams?
very outspoken against that. They were trying to go to 80 teams, and he's like, why?
We all know why, because there's more games on TV, more money. But when you dilute the product, that's the thing though. I know I'll probably watch. I don't like the play-in game though. That just does nothing for me. To fight for that 16 seed, and then the 8 and 9 I think has the game in there too. That doesn't do nothing for me. I know a lot of people it does. And by the way, it's hard to fill out your fucking bracket anyways with that fucking shit. I hate filling out.
Imagine you.
Oh my god.
Go ahead.
No, I hate filling out the bracket for that shit when you have to do the play-in game. Pisses me off. I fucking hate it. I look at it and I just.
Yep. Now imagine you've got to add Central and Western and Eastern and Western Kentucky. You know what I mean? It's a fucking disaster.
Southern Tennessee State of fucking Chattanooga. The fuck is that?
And now we're getting the expansion of the college football playoff too, which
yes. Was it 8?
I mean, yeah, 8. But let's be frank. Even with the expansion, who's beating the SEC? Who's beating them?
Teams like the Big Ten, it always circulates. Michigan's getting their run now, but you have Ohio State, seems like every year, and then Wisconsin or Iowa will kind of pop in there. But once one of those schools goes to play Bama, if they get in, we see what happened to Michigan State. They got jail sexed out there. Oh, hell yeah. That was pretty bad when they got ran over by Bama. But Ohio State seems to be able, out of all the Big Ten schools, to hold their own against the SEC. They can hang in there, but everybody else in the Big Ten just gets smacked around. But I do like the idea of USC, and it's going to happen at some point, coming to the big house in November, 20, 30-degree weather, just running the ball 3 yards in a cloud of dust up your USC ass. It's going to be great. I am looking forward to that. Is seeing those matchups that we really don't get to see no more. As far as having the down south schools, because usually when they schedule Ohio State, because Ohio State that's one thing you have to give Ohio State credit. They always schedule tough opponents, but it seems like it's the beginning of the year, so they're never playing them once that weather really starts to turn over in about middle of in the fall, like around November. Seeing these warm teams come up north and play the Big Ten.
I think the thing you're seeing too, the scumbag coaches, the way they used to operate, everyone operates that way. So they can't get ahead of anybody by being a scumbag because everyone's a scumbag now. So there you go.
That's a good point. They're all doing the same shit they were doing about 5-10 years ago before it became legal. That's that for the Sports Podcast. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Tell some friends. Tell some friends about the great shit we're doing over here. Uncle might like to watch this shit. Why not have your uncle have a good time when he's sitting in his goddamn chair? He might want to fucking watch this shit, right? I got my Rolling Stone shirt on, see?
Better than watching the Tigers bullpen.
Yeah, tell your uncle. Say, this guy with the Rolling Stone shirt, they have a great fucking show. You need to check it out. Like, subscribe, see ya.